Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We want to welcome all of you on SKTV. Um, Today is Monday, March 14, 2022. I want to welcome all of you. Today is another edition of SKTV. Um, Today is the start or the second day in the new week, according to our calendar, especially with the English speaking people and some or most of the French speaking people. I want to welcome all of you. Um, it's about 11:06 a.m. on the West Coast. Um, it's about, they're going to make me laugh, I beg you. It's about 1 p.m., 1:06 p.m. on, in the Midwest, and on the East Coast, I think it's about 2:07. So times have changed for these different areas, but the good thing is in Arizona, our time remains static. It doesn't change. One of the best things about Arizona, the weather is consistent and the time does not change. Those are pluses. We don't have to deal with all the extra shenanigans. We stick with one weather and that's it. So that's a good thing about Arizona. Sunny skies. I can see here through the windows, the different windows we have here. I can see through them. I'm seeing the sky, blue. Sky is still blue, and everything is going fine in Arizona so far. But we want to welcome you to SKTV. Thank you to our viewers, our listeners, our followers from all around the world. We want to welcome you to another edition, and we're excited to be here today. A lot to talk about, but let's reference the Liberian people as the most important people on earth. Let's reference the Liberian women as the most beautiful women on earth, and all of the men can attest to that. I challenge you. If you as a man refuse to acknowledge that, then that means you are dishonoring your mother. I'm not saying your father, your mother, because your mother is as beautiful as you are. So you better think twice before you argue this point. Think twice. So yes, I want to welcome you. Today is a good day. A lot has happened in our country. A lot is happening in our country. We have a lot to uncover, a lot to unpack today. I believe we'll have a very good conversation. Yesterday, we were fortunate to have some people on here, two of our brothers on here. We had a good time, a very good conversation, very, very good one. Very educative, informative, and so forth. We want to thank them. Thanks to all of our participants, those who've participated, those we've invited before that were able to come through on our invitation. Those of you who we invited, you have not come, please, on our invitation so that we can have a conversation. Today, we play hosts to, we're expected to have one or two guests, one or two. We'll stick with the time and we'll be on time today. I'm running through some of my notes here. Important things and interesting things are happening. We'll be recognizing one or two of you very soon, so hang on. A lot of different news that we'll touch on here and there before we get into our conversation for today. But a lot of different things are happening around the world. A lot of different things are happening around the world. And while we are on, we're getting signals of some things that are happening, some plans. It'll be noisy. The topic will be very interesting. Today, we're going to focus on Chief Justice Korkpor. He should be stepping down from the Supreme Court bench very soon. And also, we're going to discuss the future of the judiciary branch of government in Liberia. We're also going to reflect on his tenure or him being there. We're going to look at some of the things that have happened as well. We're going to scrutinize some of the things he's done, some of the things he's been involved with. We're going to scrutinize him and how long he's been there. We're going to also try to look into who's possibly could replace him. Who would replace him should he step down sooner or later? Who's poised or who's tipped to replace him? We're also going to consider the story of Edwin Melvin Snow. He hasn't gone away. It's getting very interesting and twisted. So we're going to talk about it. But before we get to our main topic today of conversation, we want to jump in on one or two things here to recognize you really quick, play our song, catching on other news. In other news, Mr. Abdullah Kiatama, who is from the Spoon Talk, has officially relinquished his position as a panelist after taking a sabbatical. As a matter of fact, his sabbatical should be ending by tomorrow, the 15th. And I stand to be corrected based on his official Facebook feed announcement that he made initially. We're going to also, we're trying to reach him on the phone. We're trying to reach him on the phone. We're trying to make contact with him and see if we can, ask him one or two questions if he's available. So once we take our musical break, we'll reach out to him and see if we can get him on the phone. So, but that's interesting considering where the Spoon Talk has been involved into lots of shenanigans. And they're still involved in the shenanigans. It just started. When we said it the other time on this show, the CEO was blatantly disrespectful and dismissive on his show on Spoon Talk, and we told him to slow down on this show. We told the Spoon Talk CEO to slow down. As brothers, we're giving him, but he thinks he understands what's going on. He thinks he's the big dog or he's the big boy. He hanging with the big boys. And I just laughed that day because he has no clue. All that shenanigans when you're talking, you can talk to the other person directly, you can talk to that one directly. That's childish. The people we talk to, we don't tell you who we talk to or who we don't talk to. But that one, it is what it is. We're not going to go into that one. We're not even going there. Be bragging around that you talk to the other person you talk to. That's an achievement for you, brother. That's an achievement for you. That's an accomplishment. Cool. Kudos to you. It is what it is. But the Spoon Talk noise and shenanigans is not going away anytime soon. Just so you know. If Witherspoon talk that this was going to subside or this was going to go away, he's joking. He's really, really joking. He's joking, but that's a side point. Witherspoon is still my boy. Everybody else on the panel there, we're still friends. We maintain a professional and a respectful relationship. But notwithstanding, it doesn't mean that when you fool around, especially with the Liberian people's interests, we'll not have that conversation. No, that's not truth. And don't even dare think to me. Maybe that other people will call you behind closed door for you to chit chat. I don't do that. I don't play around like that. If that private thing, your private life or my private life or something different, we can chit chat in the back. But when the Liberian people issue, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Especially if you have people that thinking this is a joke, while people are suffering, and when we're talking and you think this is a joke. Well, the only thing I can say to my man stand on in the Spoon Talk is we inside. You think our 1 week conversation? You have no clue. You got no clue, brother. We inside. Yeah? We inside. The story that the pieces will just be falling together. Like it will just be falling together, just be falling apart. Pieces will just be falling apart. You think this is a joke? It will just be falling apart. And the facts will just be unraveling as we move on. It will just be coming up. It will just be coming up. Just watch and see. Relax. And I told you that to slow down. You want your show. You started talking from a friend. We is up. You don't see nothing here, brother. We is up. But it started. Right now, we just warm me up. The noise coming. The real noise coming. And I say you get tape. You play the tape. You do that when you do it. When you think the Labrador put out, you can tell Labrador put a rap. No way. No way. And someone threw away and started talking a bunch of crap. How they got They allocated money for propo journalist, propo the other foolishness. It'll get serious, brother. It get serious. We inside here. We here. All we here. We here. Spoon talk. We here. We not get problem with you. We here. We're talking when the time comes. We're talking very, very soon. The time coming. But that's aside the point. Our big senior senator in the big senior senator might bounce on again to Senator Prince Johnson. When we get back, we'll be reading the big senator, senior senator, Senator PYJ, Prince Johnson. He will bounce on again the morning, blaming the opposition for pushing the sanction on him. And we'll read his quotation, what he said. We'll read a quotation to you so you can understand. So a lot is going on. A lot is going on. But let's get to the musical break. We'll come back and we jump straight into the conversation. But let's recognize one or two of you. Spoon Talk, listen. Somebody really read it. Smith that way. Let me put up a Spoon Talk promise to interview the president live, but lied to her. Brother, that Calais, that's all scam. I'm telling you. Challenge them. Let them produce that whatever they say they got to interview the president. I challenge them. They ain't get fine. Social liars that Shinfe doing them. I say Shinfe doing them. They will not be able to say. They will not be able to produce that tip because there was no tip that exists. You know, interview the president. They suck up when they went there. All of them. The only person. I say all of them. I'm moving anybody from there. All of them suck up. The only person that asked question. And when Katama started to ask the question, they start stepping on his foot. All of them. I say one person that move on there. All of them that were in the hotel room now, they suck up. Maggie was saying, praying. Maggie was right there. All of them. Just say, your dream come true. Then discuss nothing about the Labron people. Then discuss fight about the Labron people. They were just cheering, carrying the candle story. They're happy. Yeah. The men were just happy. Everybody just happy. I want to know my counselor and say, oh, we'll go behind the hall to go discuss. I'm looking at somebody to go sit behind the hall and go discuss those kind of things that concern the Labron people. That me also go discuss that one. I better go find somebody else to discuss that other thing. Let's get back to our music and do that thing, man. It'll balance. It'll be fun. We'll discuss that particular. And as time goes by, we'll start dropping some of the quotations, some of the things that you said in the meeting. We'll start dropping some of the quotations one by one so that you can give your rule of awakening to understand that even when you go in the bathroom and you do a deal, we know that you did a deal. Spoon Talk really thought they think we're going that way. You really thought they think we're going to subside. You got no clue. You go pay your surrogate and let them attack people and these things. You're going to fool them. They ain't going that way. They're nice. They ain't going that way. They're not going that way. You're compromising Labron people interests. We inside. And your regime collaborator. Ain't want to hang with the big boys. All right, we hang with the big boys. Y'all know. But that play. All of them lied to us. We no copyright to this song that is about to play. They lied to us.
My people, where you at? Wake up from your slumber. Stop sleeping. Whip your hands. Come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. So much. I said they lie. The people fool us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not come up. I said we tired with their lies, we tired with their promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with their speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrates us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us. You screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. I said no one to trust. My people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then instead they delay. People suffer. No work for people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. We tired with their promises that left us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrates us. So why can you lie? Why can you steal? Why can you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we both tell you. But you fool us. You screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie.
Well, the government betray us. They lied to us. That one is not a hidden secret. The government are 419 government. So criminals in charge. So crooks. Those serial money person. All of them, they're aiding and abetting. And that's a typical syndrome of most Liberians. When they're part of something, they will sit there and be quiet. They will never openly rebuke anything or take a stand on anything. But yeah, so let's get to one or two sides conversation. Unfortunately, we're not able to get Katama on the phone here to either make a comment or so forth. But in subsequent time, we would be able to get him, hopefully, to make a comment or to address some of to come on the show, not particularly this whole spoon talk thing, but maybe things that prompted him relinquishing his seat or panelist seat on the spoon talk. Yeah, the spoon talk is by the people who lied to you. Somebody was asking earlier on, oh, data friends. Yeah, data friends, they were there too. I say all of them. When I'm missing my words, the thing I say, I'm missing my word. That I fired from my mother. I tell you, that straight talk. That straight direct call I plug in here. That the friends who were there live and direct. She was in the meeting. I say it. Don't say they say she was there. So you leave that thing, brother. Can't would I go there be asking the random question with the random people. The thing I say I move somebody from there, and I move nobody from there. Oh, I know what you see the picture and say, oh, so the picture is all a lie. Okay, no problem. But let's move on. Let's identify. Let's recognize one or two people, and we'll move forward. So you can hear. We can hear our uncle. We can hear our uncle Prince Johnson in my bounce all the money again. Oh, wait, I'm in trouble. Y'all give me a second here, please. Let's take a musical break. One of our guests just told me that the link that was sent out was not the right link, so we got to get something going really quick, really quick. Just a quick. This song I come and play. If you ain't getting meaning for this song, the show will not continue without our guests on the sit down. We get this song been playing. I know how long this show. We not ask for the interpretation of this song. One of us can interpret this song. Say seriously, wow. That particular song here. One of y'all go to party. Y'all can dance this song. Let me get your dancing this song to party. Y'all who can interpret this song? Because me the dancing I was doing behind. I'm someone dancing. I know the interpretation of this song. I just asking y'all so y'all can just to find out if you know it, but you ain't know the interpretation of the song. Y'all ain't know the interpretation of the song. You ain't even know the interpretation of the song. But let the song be playing. Somebody show dancing fair. If I call you out on the show and bring you on so that we can ask you what the interpretation of this song. This small song, you ain't know the interpretation. But our guest in the back there, we're not coming to waste time. Let's get into the thing really quick. Because I don't know what to say. Say you ain't want get interpretation of this song. We're not recognizing you. Yeah, we're not recognizing. We vet today on SKTV. We're not recognizing on SKTV today. What? This small song or? Somebody said, what did I tell you the interpretation of the song? But for what? That mean go learn the interpretation of the song. That you see? You see the African, you see the guy, the other person that higher person. But let's recognize one or two people really quick and we'll bring our one of our guests on. Momo M. Seni. Welcome to the show. The man I can get very on. He did sabbatical or tell you, he can go for a year thing. Come back. We stay here, people. You come back, we get. We don't get problem with you. Hold on. Wafio Francis. Sorry if I mispronounce and if I butcher your name. Rachel Hammer. Sarah Jla. Welcome to the show. Africanus, welcome to the show. I'm moving up now. Benjamin, Jonas, welcome to the show. Shame on you, Benjamin, Jonas. All the be more you get. On a conversation, you say you know this song. You call me the other day, say you know the interpretation of the song. Then you ask me to get. I can't tell you, man. Sole, welcome to the show. Justino, Beverly Pajibo. Well, I know Beverly Pajibo. I don't know Justino. Abraham, welcome to the show. She will deal with me today. Abraham, welcome to the show. Mohammed, welcome to the show. Martin, welcome to the show. Rachel, welcome to the show. Smith, welcome to the show. Martin, welcome to the show. Ambassador Shaq, welcome to the show. Let's move on. We're moving up the ladder. Dauda, welcome to the show. Moving up here. Yumutro, welcome to the show. I'm always stuck with his name. Musa, welcome to the show. Yvette, welcome to the show. Jaganti, welcome to the show. I think that will be it. Boy, welcome to the show. Yes, that will be it. Let's bring in our guests really quick and get started with some conversation here. As I said, the post said that depending on you to release on this, because song depending on the interpretation of what is going on.
Steve,
My man, you get interpreted on this song and the post said it will protest against you.
you know, that's the people right to protest, right? And so
Oh,
they should start the protest right away.
wow. So
But
you read it Democratic go?
oh yeah, but man, I'm Democratic. But Steve, you really like this song?
I mean, but I know the interpretation of the song, like where I'm stuck. Can you
Yeah.
help us?
No, I can't have.
Oh, so we therefore not inside of that.
Jolada. How you like something? How you like something? Then you don't want to make effort.
Hello. Hello. So all the people that are watching this show, none of you know the interpretation of this show. What or this song? Wow.
I will not get the interpretation of the song. I will give the whole idea of the song.
Okay, what's the idea of the song?
The song is done in Grubble.
Oh,
Yeah, the song is done in Grubble. I am crew. So if he was singing in crew, I would be of much help.
right.
But the idea of the song is like a praise song. So what he's doing there is idolizing people, and he blending that with a rhythm, that will make people happy. So basically, he calling our. It's like somebody saying our old man. Yes, our old man is good, And again, that is not the interpretation of the song. I'm only telling you, the whole idea of the song is praising, idolizing people, basically entertaining people using the local vernacular. And there's no reason for anybody not to like that song. I think this is one of the best pieces of Friday the Seventh Man, and I can't stop listening to it. It's a very good song.
So
I will talk to Dennis Jazz. Dennis Jazz will help you. Dennis Jazz speaks global perfect
wait a
and
minute.
excellently well.
Wait a minute before we get into the conversation. Before we hear from Prince Johnson. Wait a minute before we get into the conversation. So you are telling us that Friday the Settlement is confirming that Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. Is that what he's saying in a nutshell?
Definitely.
So that means I knew the interpretation of the song. Just tell me that.
Again, I don't know the exact wordings. I only gave you the whole idea of the song, is to idolize people, and blending that with entertainment. That is
Okay.
it. Now, if idolizing people, of course, I will agree with you. If the Liberian woman is not in the picture, then that one you waste it. So,
Yeah, because the thing about this song here, Mr. CA, the thing about this song here, I don't know who that girl that he can be. I know that girl been he discussing. That song that Liberian woman been he talking. Who then can put us in situation we can't handle the way my brother Friday was looking that way like that. To be honest, when we look at the whole thing about true, anyway you put it, that Liberian woman, you see all the beamer we get, they don't want to point and say we don't can handle. That lie.
Steve. Steve.
Sorry, Anthony. I couldn't help it. Sorry, Anthony. You make your point so that we can get to the truth because today over, it's not easy.
Yeah, I see Baron Brown is suggesting that you should continue with yesterday conversation instead of wanting us to talk about Prince Johnson, he said.
Okay, Baron Brown. Okay, thank you for your suggestion, Baron Brown.
Okay.
But what? Well, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'll just say, I'm here. You ask the question, I talk my own. That's it.
Well, okay. Ms. Ansoni C is not a stranger to SKTV, as all of you are already aware. This morning we received a communication. Senator Prince Johnson is blaming the opposition bloc for the sanction placed on him by the U.S. government. This is one of the quotes Just want to read it out here really quick. I was elected as chairman, quote, I was elected as chairman on a committee on security, defense, and intelligence for 12 years under President Salif, and three times to the ECOWAS Parliament, as well as the Deputy Speaker to the Parliament, and no one has problem with me. But it is because of my support to Mr. Weah that is hurting them, Senator Johnson stated. Quick word on this. What do you make of this, Mr. Sear?
Steve, interesting statement from Prince Johnson, first of all. And it is important that we go back to the history that he was talking about. Ellen was in power. Prince Johnson was on a committee throughout the time. Is he right? Yes, he is right. And throughout that time, there was no effort, as we see now, for him to be removed off of that committee, given his role in the war. Why was that? Now, who was the president? Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. What does Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Prince Johnson have in common? They brought war. They war killed our people. Most of the things that happen in the legislature can be sanctioned by the president. The president has a huge influence on lawmakers' action. That is a fact. Now, Prince Johnson is telling us the reason why this is happening is because I'm supporting President Weah. Is Prince Johnson right because Prince Johnson supported Ellen Johnson Sirleaf? That did not happen. So why this time, when he supports a president again, and now he pivoted to say that's the opposition? But during that time, we had opposition. It said that the opposition that time was not strong. Does it mean now that the opposition is strong? Well, there's time for everything. That is the answer. It is not because, Steve, that we have a stronger opposition. No. There is time for everything. Prince Johnson has not been on the radar of us as a people, despite what we know and what we know him to be. Prince Johnson is falling off with the Liberian people. George Weah, who he is supporting, is one person many Liberians are not happy with. Steve, you know, economically things are bad. Everything in Liberia is deteriorating. So for Prince Johnson, who is indirectly supporting the suffering of the Liberian people, after he brought war, after he participated in a war, after Prince Johnson was seen killing Liberians, and yet his people would choose him to be their leader. And a government that is suffering the people, he is on a wagon to ensure that that government remains in power so that the people's suffering can continue. Maybe these lawmakers we have now are trying to give Prince Johnson a second law. That no, this guy does not deserve all this opportunity he's had. So it is not that the opposition is strong. It is the main fact that the time for Prince Johnson to be given a second look and to be held accountable might be coming. Will the opposition stay on track with that? I'm not sure. Because like them, I mean, like Prince Johnson, they are doing just about everything Prince Johnson is doing.
Okay. Well, thank you for your input on that. I agree with you. My only two questions or reservation I've had is the past opposition during the early time They did not have the international connection, or they didn't know their way through to be able to negotiate sanction or have that relationship. Does this current opposition have that? That's a question to be answered. But the bigger question on that is Prince Johnson's support for President George. We have Prince Johnson and Ellen, like you stated earlier, on public knowledge and facts that Ellen and Prince Johnson have one thing in common, which is the war. Now the question becomes, what does Prince Johnson and George Weah have in common? That's something to ponder on, think about, and really process, considering Representative Yeke Koluba has repeatedly accused the President George Weah, of supporting and sponsoring the war in Liberia. So that's very coinciding. It's confusing, but again, we'll leave it as that. Another thing I want to take you on, apart from the topic, before we get into our topic for the day here, Mr. Sia, is Mr. Kyatamba from the Spoon Talk resigned or relinquished his position from the Spoon Talk. What do you say about that? What does that say about Spoon Talk, considering this scheme, this entire thing came, whether you like it or not, it was precipitated by the going to Liberia and, coming back and having a defiant posture, and the Spoon Talk CEO, Stanton Witherspoon, when he was asked for accountability as to let Liberian people know exactly what went on, he said people are jealous, very dismissive, and so forth. What say you?
Steve, I think I like this one.
Oh, God.
But before I, give my take on it, you just asked a very significant question. That what does George Weah and Prince Johnson have in common? I think we should answer that.
Okay.
What they have in common is fear of losing power. Fear of getting unpopular. Fear that should they not be in power tomorrow, they will face the Liberian people. They will be held accountable. That is what they have in common. So they have to unite forces to protect and maintain power. That is what they have in common. Now, on the issue of Yeke's allegations concerning President Weah's involvement, contribution to the war, Yeke has challenged the entire government, including President Weah, to come and deny it. There has not been any denial.
Right.
I will leave it at that and come to this Kyatama leaving Spoon TV. In your question, you said has resigned, relinquished. Choice of words matters, Steve. If we say that he resigned, it begs the question, was he employed?
Okay.
If we say he relinquished, it might be the same, but there's a little different context to it. If he relinquished, does it mean was he on contract? Steve, we have to ask that very important question. It will give us clue. So let's say Kyatama resigned. That will answer the question whether or not he was employed. So if he resigned, then that means he was employed. If he was employed, was he on salary? Can we get an answer? Well, we will try to find that answer and we'll ask, because when you are employed, you are entitled to a salary. Was he doing a voluntary work? If he was doing a voluntary work, then we need to know. Was he being compensated as a volunteer or as a contributor, as a panelist? Then we also need to know. Why do we need to know? Because the platform has established itself as Liberia Premier for accountability, And if you want to hold people accountable who are political actors and asking them questions that border on transparency, democracy, and fairness, and all that, then it means you yourself must first be fair, must be transparent, and must be democratic. Kentama is somebody, even those who might have issues with him, admire him for his brilliance when it comes to speaking English. And he's analytical, he's very insightful. He's a smooth talker, not in a negative sense. So he added value to the Spoon Network. For him to have gone on sabbatical, as we know it on Facebook now, and he did not come from that sabbatical and now he's registering a departure. There's a saying in Liberia that is true, Steve, my friend. Wherever you see smoke, there is fire. Or when you see fire, there's smoke. Kentama, it is a right to remain silent in the court of public opinion. Why he has to leave, that is his right. But that right will continue to beg the question, why? And so, Steve, I think Spoon Network, with this departure of Kentama, is there a window that has been opened now with future departures? That one is for you. Marcel, I can ask question.
Well, we wouldn't like to jump ahead of some of these conversations. This is just a teaser because tomorrow, Sonny and I, we are having a show on focus on Liberia. At the very end of this podcast, we will announce it, and we will be diving and digging a little deeper into some of these things. Because if, in fact, we would use the words that were quoted, that were written by Kentama to relinquish his power or his seat, if we use those words, then the question now that is in mind, is if maybe they were on maybe salary or they were being paid or whatever it is, and this was not a volunteer job, who's funding them? Considering most recently we heard from Samuel Tuer's mouth that there is a pro-poll media that the government owes. And Spoon Talk has shown by all indication, whether you like it or not, make excuses or not, the facts have been established that Spoon Talk not only is a regime collaborator, but they're in bed with the government to fool the Liberian people, to lie to the Liberian people, and think that this is a joking thing that they're in. But tomorrow we'll dig a little deeper into that. We don't want to go ahead of ourselves because we have other things to cover here today really quick. Mr. C is here for other issues. I don't want to put myself in a situation I can handle and maybe put him tomorrow. We'll talk about some of these things and we'll dig a little deeper tomorrow. Tomorrow it will be very noisy, very, very noisy, just so you all know. But let's move on to the nitty-gritty here today, the conversation topic here today. The judiciary branch of government has seen to be is considered one of the three branches of government. By our constitution, by right, yes, they can work together collaboratively, but they should be independent. However, this branch of government seemed to have been the enabler, the facilitator of corruption, bad practices, and problems in the country, as evidenced by the U.S. Treasury Department when they pointed out the crimes of Senator Vanny Sherman. They did point out that judges and other people from the judicial branch of government were in the knowing, they colluded. It was to their acquiescence that some of these bad deals. All right, well, Kentama made a statement. I have to recognize his statement here. Unfortunately, Mr. Kentama couldn't be reached by phone, but I'm glad that he's making a public statement here. Like the Kentama state, I was never in the employ of Spoon Talk. I was simply I was simply a pro bono panelist. I was asked to serve in a position. I simply relinquished my role as a panelist. Mr. Katama, thank you for providing clarity and context. So, Asonisie, that answers your question on Mr. Katama. Maybe the thought that we had into the public. Thank you so much for not even waiting, but for providing it. But we will hope that you can return my call if you have time. And it's a good thing that you respond and provide clarity in a timely manner. It's critically important because these things, some of these things must be clear out. It's up to Spoon Talk now to provide a contrary or not. It's up to them. But Mr. Katama has made a public statement on this question and he's clarified it. Thank you so much, Adula Katama. Again, if you return my call, that would be great. Maybe we can ask you one or two questions. But thank you so much, Katama, for your response. Mr. CA, that's Katama's response. But again, thanks to Katama. But come to the judicial branch of government. This judicial branch of government seems to be problematic. We don't talk about them much. We don't talk about it much. But they're one of the problems that we have, as evidenced by that when President George Weah took over here in CDC, the two branches of government that they focused on was the judicial branch of government and the legislative branch of government to get them under control. Okay, he says send me the number.
Yeah, he said you should send in a number to call.
Katama, you can call me. You can call me on WhatsApp, please. If you can,
Katama, you can call you on WhatsApp or you call
me on WhatsApp, please.
On WhatsApp.
Or call us on WhatsApp. Either one of us, either or.
Call me on WhatsApp.
It will be
on Messenger.
You can come on video, my man. You enjoy you also. You can come on video. We yell.
And Steve, I had to do this, but let me say quickly that for us to have raised some questions concerning Katama's role when he was with Spoon Network, and for him to have immediately come to say, "Hey, gentlemen, I was not an employee." I think he did the right thing. Some people would choose to say, "Well, I don't owe you any explanation."
I think I'm getting a call from Katama. Hold on 1 second.
Okay, all right.
Hello. Yes, Mr. Abdullah Katama. Welcome to SKTV. I think this is the very first time, right?
Yeah, I think I'm calling, but I'm not sure I'll appear. But how you doing, my man?
My man, we're doing okay, my man. What is going on? Why you pour everybody in situation again? No,
my man. I think I was clear that I'm relinquishing my role as a panelist. I was asked to serve as a panelist. First, I came as a guest, and they said, "Look, we think we want you to serve as a panelist based on feedback we receive." I said, "Fine. I'll see. Well, let's start with a week or two, and then." They extended it, and they were generous enough, and I graciously accepted. And I've been there for about 7 months, and I've tried my best to be as objective, as analytical, as insightful as possible. And at some point, I took a sabbatical for 3 weeks to do some reflection, to reflect on my own activity, to reflect on the show, to reflect on so many different things, and see that I felt that I just could not continue, and I needed to relinquish that role so someone else can sit in that place. So I was simply relinquishing my role. I was never in the employed. I was not a contractor. I was not an employee. I was not a consultant. So I was simply a pro bono volunteer panelist and analyst, and I've decided that after reflection, I needed to do something else. And so I reached out and I communicated out to all of them that I needed to do something else. So I was simply vacating the seat and hoping that someone can come and fill in that void and share their thoughts on the issues that affect our country and the foul march of our people.
Okay, thank you for the clarity.
I have a question for him. Mr. Katama, thank you so much that you listened to us. We were raising some questions, and you have given the answer. I think that was point on. I want to say thank you also for your role you play on Spoon. During your time there, everybody got to admire your brilliance, your analytical skills, your communication skills. It is something that the community needs. That says that Liberians want to still hear from you contributing to the national disco. Now that you have left your role as a panelist at Spoon, are we going to see Kantama, and where are we going to see him, and what is Kantama going to be doing? Because I will emphasize, Liberians want to see you contributing to the national disco.
Well, that's a very good question. That is very necessary question. Smart question. I actually run a consultancy business in Liberia. I'm going to spend a lot of time expanding that business, expanding my clientele, but I'm also going to weigh in on issues in our country. I've not decided how, the medium, I've not decided the platform, but I need some time to reflect, to unplug from. It's been exhausting being on Spoon, sometimes 4 hours. Before you go on Spoon, I have to do a lot of research, sometimes 2-3 hours, call a lot of players, local, international, call people on the ground, get a feedback. I do a lot of survey, focus group survey, like that, just to come on the show, just to be on top of my game. So it was exhausting, and this was not a pay stuff. So after the trip in Liberia, I did a lot more reflection, deeper reflections on how am I adding value, am I contributing, am I changing things? And after all of that consideration, I said, let me take some time and do a deeper reflection outside my role, because if you're in the spot, we don't see you inside. They're going to be outside looking in and thinking deeper and looking at all the options that are available. But I appreciate the work Spoon Talk does. I think Spoon Talk is doing their best under the given circumstances. And they've done some good work, some humanitarian works on the platform, raising money for people on the platform. So I admire all of that. And there's no perfect group, but I think it is time. And I hope they will invest a lot more time improving the platform, making it, aligning it to the changing demands of viewers and people. Look, the most significant issues in our country is that people have been voting wrong. If they don't have the right information, they will continue to vote wrong. Our problems will get bigger. Our problem will be more complicated. So our job is to engage in public education, turn all these outrage into actions to transform our country. So everything you see can impact people. Everything you say, people are forming their opinion based on what you say. So we should never underestimate our voices, our thoughts that are conveyed on these platforms, because they are shaping opinion, they are shaping direction of our country. Ordinary people have been fed with wrong information, and they have acted on that information. And so a lot of things have happened wrong in our country. And so we are under obligations to sometimes be objective as possible, even if it against their own interest. I support people say, oh, Ketama, you support the government, but many times I told folks in the government, look, I'm not public relations for the government. Government come and go, but the people remain and the country remain. And I have to give account for every position I take 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I have to defend it. So if I'm going to defend anything, I got to make sure I know what I'm talking and what I believe in it, and whether it's truth. Because we are all flawed, we all make mistakes, but the mistakes we cannot make is to create a condition in which our people make decisions that will affect the next generation. They will not forgive us. So it will take time to see what is my next move in terms of a platform, in terms of a discussion. But I appreciate all of the support from viewers, from people who call me. In fact, a lot of people did not want me to leave. They felt I created an avoid. It was a difficult decision, and I thought about it long and hard. And finally, I came to a conclusion. I said, look, I have to do this to get some time, because it's been exhausting, to be honest with you. I drive to Spoon Studio. From sometimes people worry about me. One time after our shoot, they say, sure you guys doing it right there? I said, no, I'm okay. God is minding me. I'm doing my own, the best contributions I can. All of you guys are doing the same thing. Your voices have been shaping a lot of public opinion. Your thoughts, people come and listen to you. They invest their time. People at work, leave from work and just listening to this show. It is a respect. It is an investment. No, I've never seen people want to consume so much information about a country like Liberians. Every platform right now as we speak, more than 8,000 Liberians on different platforms across the country get listening. just that it's an investment in their country. It's how they invest. They may not know how to be rhetorically effectively communicate, but they want to know about their country. That is why we should turn that into a greatest opportunity we've had. People are so passionate about Liberia. They want to hear every thought about Liberia. So we have, in media is content. We have to produce the best content. We have to move from gossip into real serious discussion, because these issues affect our country. The people's life at stake. Whatever we do. I met a lady in West Point. She told me, Ketama, I listened to you. And we got a whole group that listened to you on the show. He said, my 3 daughters have been out of school. My husband working with one of the agencies, and he will put down, they say they're going to pay him by pay, they have not done it. The day you go on our show there and you say everything right in the country, I will swear you. It affected how I analyze you. You go on our platform, you say everything right in the country. You make me know that I don't exist, that my problem is not relevant, that everything okay with me. My 3 daughters, she walked me through a house in West Point. Look at these 3 girls, they've been here for 2 years, they have not gone to school. My husband is sick. If you go on our platform and say everything right in the country, I will swear you.
Wow.
Imagine.
That was profound.
I get to people. It was profound. And that experience has shaped my analysis of issues. Like, I'm more for the government than anybody that I can think of. But I always tell them, I say, you need me not to challenge some of the things to make it better. Right. So I just want to clarify, I'm never in the employ of Spoon. I did not sign up for contract. I did not engage in structural compensation. And I told the CEO, if you send something my way, I will accept it, but I don't want to be in a structural compensation, because I've not made up my mind yet totally to say, look, this group I want to be employed, that's not what I want to do. But all in all, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be on the platform, to share my thoughts, and to advance on issues that are important to our people. And I'm having a lot of engagement across Liberia around these issues. Some people, there's a group invite, why you left the platform, want to have a Q&A with you. I've agreed to that on the weekend. So I'm doing a lot of that discussions. Before I came on Spawn, I was on OKFM, will ask me the State of the Union last year. I was the panelists. Different radio stations have asked me, but I just focus more mostly on Spoon. So I think the CEO stand up with us for the opportunity. And I think the panelists, they're great people on the show. I really admire them. I love them. And I cherish them for all they do for Liberia.
Okay, so just before we take leave of you, Mr. Kiatama, one might say that the trip to Liberia precipitated, exacerbated, or pushed you to make that decision that you've made finally. What do you say about that? And what was in that trip that must have contributed to you relinquishing or taking a sabbatical from the Spoon talk? What do you say?
Honorable Senior, this guy want to breaking news from me. Come to my rescue.
Okay, we can keep it for another time. When you set and you ready to come on the show, then we can do it.
My man, thank you, man. I appreciate the time, and I love you, Steve. You're doing a wonderful job. Your confidence level is high. I love the music you are playing by Friday the cell phone, man.
But interpret the song before you go now. Interpret the song before you go. And so you just text me say you knew the interpretation of the song. Why you going away from that?
No. I didn't text you, my man. Don't.
Oh, the message the song means glad us. Okay, no problem. But Katama, we did invite you. Let it be on the record here that SKTV invited you. We look forward to you honoring the invite. If not, so we'll hold you in contempt.
And Mr. Kantama, I had to let you go, but hey, will you find time to tell it all, your experiences there, and maybe the reasons you have to part way? I know you share some, but the problem is you have offer yourself as a service person to the Liberian people in a public space. So the questions will always come. Why did he leave? Why did he leave? Why did he leave? It said that he was at a disadvantage. Was he being overshadowed? Those kind of things will always come. So my short question is, will you find time on any platform at your own choosing to tell it all? why you have to leave?
Well, I will find time to share my experiences, but I'll also use that experience to advance a larger cause, which is how do we turn this platform into a source of information, into a source of truth-telling, truth-seeking, and simplifying complex issues for our people to make decisions, and to also guide power and to bring pressure to bear on leaders of our country to shift, to make transformation, and to sometimes hold them accountable and to bring pressure to bear and build unity and passion around some of the issues. A lot of people are passionate about these issues, but how do they turn this passion into actions and make sure they push the government towards that? And I think I will find time to tell that story. Using my experience of sport, I will find time to do that.
Okay.
But I would also, I would do that. The specificity, we can work it out when that time comes. But I'll need some time just to unplug,
Right.
to reset my own human buttons, to reset my systems, to reset, to get some time and take some breathing space. So I'll be going Cape Town the weekend to relax for 2 days.
Oh.
Go on the farm, and eat some fresh things and then refresh. That's what I want to do for the next 1 week or 2 weeks. So after that, I'll be willing to engage all my brothers on all these powerful platforms.
Thank you so much, Kyatama. We'll be in touch for sure. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Wonderful job. Bye.
Yes, sir. Bye. Well, that was the voice of Abdullah Kyatama. I want to say thanks for calling in. But, Mr. Syed, let's digress really quick into the conversation where we stopped, because we gotta dig into this thing here. The Chief Justice, the judicial branch of government, has been proven to be corrupt, evil, and not ready to do the Liberian people's job. But this judicial branch of government is headed currently by one person who's in charge. So he's one of the men in charge of our country, Chief Korkpor, Honorable Francis S. Korkpor Sr. So he's been around for a while. Before I ask you my question here, let me give you an instant here. Chief Korkpor, I'll call him Chief Korkpor, whatever now, but Chief Justice Korkpor has been around from 2004, but he was nominated by President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf sometimes also in 2006 to become part of the justice. He was nominated because he's been around from 2004 practicing and so forth. But from 2006 up until today, 2022, that puts him about 16 years. But in 2013, he was appointed as Chief Justice. 2013 till today, he's probably been Chief Justice for going on to 10 years. So, yet, under his regime or rule in this branch of government, it seemed to be shadowed with disgrace, shame, corruption, problem, and most recently, the judiciary system seemed to be brought down to its knee by all these different things that the government is using, whether to target opposition or other people. My question to you is, what does this leaving the Supreme Court mean for the future of the judicial branch of government in Liberia? What does that mean? What would you say?
I was tempted to say it would mean a lot.
Okay.
But then I caught myself knowing the realities, or I would say the reality about our judicial system, that I don't see how it makes any difference. But Korkpor leaving is something that, in my opinion, should happen. Since he been there, he has become more and part of the problem, Steve. When he leaves, who do we get? will that person make it better? No, that person will not make it better. And that is why I want to say with certainty, his leaving will mean nothing. But if it will mean anything, it would mean that we are now getting rid of yet another incompetent judge or chief justice of Liberia. That is what it would mean, that we will not be having another incompetent chief justice presiding over our courts. Look, Steve, the least men in the country will have a semblance of understanding about the justice system in Liberia. We heard stories where someone shows up to a court and that person is being asked to buy papers, maybe a ream of sheet, they call it, of a ream of paper, so that the clerk of the court will start the work of filing that person's case.
Right.
On Chief Korkpor's watch, he at one point instructed the judges to improvise. Justice has been for sale, and the highest bidder won all the time. During Korkpor's term, staffs of that judicial branch of government, the Temple of Justice to be specific, have protested for their salaries. The one that most people will remember is a guy called Archie Pompon.
Yes.
Archie Pompon is a man suffering from deformity today because of Korkpor's lack of leadership. The people could not take pay. Archie protested. Archie will go on Korkpor's car. He will stop Korkpor's car from leaving just to call his attention that the staffs at that branch of government need their salaries. Korkpor's car that he drives is worth about $75,000. Steve? So I'm saying all this to say, when it comes to the functions and duties of Korkpor, Korkpor has been more about what he gets and let the justice system figure itself out and let Liberians try to buy justice for themselves. Instead of doing everything to dispense justice in Liberia, justice has been for sale at the judicial branch of government. Lawyers have been bribed with no accountability on Korkpor's watch. So, my friend, the departure of Korkpor, if he is to leave, does not change anything for Liberia, because the leader of Liberia, President Weah, will always appoint somebody who will say yes, sir. And a judge leads to talk about the Chief Justice of Liberia. Steve should not be a yes, sir kind of person. And when the person who is charged with the responsibility of interpreting the law is a sycophant, which has been the case with the Chief Justice, then there's no point having such person as Chief Justice. But again, to end here, Mr. Weah will always find that person who will be in his corner just in case a matter goes to court, just in case election goes to court, just in case President Weah wants to use some tactics legalistically to prosecute a political opponent, he will want to have somebody, a judge, a Supreme Court judge, or a Chief Justice for that matter, to be the one to complete his mission. So Korkpor going, I don't know if it is good news, and I don't know if it is bad news. It's like we are between the Caesar. We are jumping from a frying pan to a boiling hot water. Which one is excruciating? Maybe some smart people out there will figure it out. That's my take.
Yes, I'll have to agree with you, Mr. CA, that Chief Justice Korkpor has been a problem in terms of leadership. He has been a problem in terms of being effective and staying independent. I'm not sure what they gave these guys in these different branches of government. That includes Buffer Chamber, who is the head of the legislative branch of government. These two guys that should be operating independently for check and balance purposes, they have not only sucked up, they have become a serious problem, a disgrace in their functions. Chief Justice Korkpor, it can be recorded, his friend, his colleague, former colleague, Cabinet Janet. I remember listening to Cabinet Janet on Focus on Liberia, and I think he was asked a question about his possible return to the Supreme Court. And I stand to be corrected, Mr. C, if my memory serves me right. He alluded to Chief Justice Korkpor being one of the people that colluded, and he was disappointed in Chief Justice Korkpor, and he wouldn't work with Chief Justice Korkpor. And maybe you can record those statements, whether directly or indirectly, but that alone speaks volume. It speaks volume that a former co-worker would allege that you conspired against them, you who should be the leader, to remove them from their post. But not only that, you mentioned Achi Pompon's situation. Almost all of the bribery schemes that happens in the judicial branch of government, Justice Korkpor is aware directly or indirectly. He has his hands all around it. And this is a disgrace. This is problematic. So yes, I agree with you that I would say in my own view that his leaving creates an opportunity. But the problem now is, how will the opportunity be exploited to do the right thing? So that brings me to my next question as to who next would replace him, who's poised to replace him. So with that, let me give a hint to the viewers and our listeners so that maybe they can have an idea of what we have here. Because look, this is a total mess, a beautiful nonsense that we're in, a beautiful nonsense. Our options are slim, and we know from all indication and by facts and evidence and just by trend, President George Weah will not select anyone of integrity to do the right thing. He will not. He will select another criminal or crook, such as maybe Serena Cephas could come around. Josh Joma Jala could come around. Mind you, when Serena Cephas falsely prosecuted this same Cabinet Janet, Justice Janet, he was rewarded with a job that he has today. Because according to them, these guys could do their dirty work. Are they planning on bringing Serena Cephas to the Supreme Court bench, or George Joma Jala, or not even George, just to the Supreme Court bench, so that they can align in terms of, because it is critically important that we look at this structure. Now, let me give you an understanding and underlining before Sonny can jump in here. In this context, we are talking about the person here. We have Honorable James Ethel. She's an associate justice. We have Honorable Sia, her last name, Neni, or something like that. Sorry if I butchered her name, Associate Justice. Please don't put me in situation I get hit on when I come to the country.
You might be held in contempt.
Yeah, I know. I don't mean it. Sorry. We also have Joseph Nangwe, and then we have Yusuf Kaba, who replaced Justice Kabina Jane. But the point I'm trying to make is when time for ruling and so forth, we've seen from the political spectrum that on the Supreme Court, presidents would position people that would vote whether they're in the favor or push the agenda when it comes to the Supreme Court level. So the bigger picture now, would they get one of these guys, George Joma Jala or Serena Sifos, to come on the bench and then, more or likely so, push Josh Nangwe? What do you think? Or what would you say in this context? Because this is critically important. And I think the stage is being set here for 2023 elections, just in case any kind of shenanigans happen as to how the Supreme Court will rule. These guys are shifting the goalposts. They're planning this thing. This thing is not mutually exclusive from the coming elections and part of the plan of the CDC-led government. Go ahead.
Steve, there was a significant point you reminded me about when Kabina Jane was on Focus on Liberia. And he said he cannot trust Justice Korkpor. And by the way, somebody just commented to say we shouldn't call him Chief Justice Korkpor. We should call him Chief Justice. That's the person way of looking at it. Chief Justice Korkpor, for his colleague, Kabina Jane, to say, he can't trust him, that is a profound statement. If the Chief Justice of the nation cannot be trusted, that is the biggest problem. It is the biggest problem of all. Because this man is the one to interpret the laws. And he cannot be trusted. When Kabina Jane said that this man, he can't trust him, he was not talking about personal trust, but he was talking about the law. Steve, in Liberia, we have educated people, men and women combined. I'm not sure if we are lacking in terms of more educated people. What we are lacking more of is the fact that we don't have more educated people with integrity, more educated people who will stand for the truth, irrespective of who that truth affects. And in the case of justice, we are having it difficult to have lawyers, judges, who, I will call you chairman, I'm on a show. We don't have judges and lawyers who, Steve, will stand for the truth no matter what. Most of our lawyers think that their whole law team, because it's complicated for the ordinary man, they use it as a game. They play the game for their own benefit, because not many of us understand the technicalities of the law. To your point or question, I know Justice Nangwe. Justice Nangwe at one point stood for some foreigners who committed crimes against the state. He vouched for them and that he will produce their living bodies in court to answer to the crimes that they were accused of. Those people left the country. It was reported to the knowledge of Joseph Nangwe, and that his action or behavior was calculated. He felt that that was the best way to protect his clients. In other words, this man shielded alleged criminals from facing prosecution. He could not allow them to face the full weight of the law. This is the man that we are talking about. So if Mr. Nangbe is to be the next person to be Chief Justice, if he's the one President Weah is going to choose, if Mr. Nangbe or Justice Nangbe was ever to behave this way with allegedly common criminals to get away with what they did, what make you think if the chief executive of the country, President Weah, asked that Mr. Nangbe, Justice Nangbe, to do him a favor, what would make you to believe that he will not do it? Especially if he will be in ties to do so. Steve, again, I emphasize, it's not that we don't have many educated people, but most of them are about their pocket. Back to Korkpor. This is the very Korkpor who played his role to impeach Cabinet General Hekali. It was a political trial, and the CDC executed and they succeeded politically. But this thing was also more of a legal matter. Cabinet General, being a man of the law, took the matters to the ECOWAS court. Cabinet General won the case. The ruling was that the man, Cabinet General, Justice General, should be given all his benefits and salaries for the time period he was now serving because he was illegally and unconstitutionally removed or impeached. Has Korkpor, as a man of the law, Steve, followed the ruling of ECOWAS? No. This is a Chief Justice who is not respecting a legal and constitutional decision from the Communicate Court, which is the ECOWAS court. Liberia is a signatory to that court. So if the Chief Justice does not respect any legal ruling to abide by that ruling, to ensure that it's implemented, then we say to Korkpor, bye-bye, you were not serving us in the first place. You were serving yourself, and Mr. Korkpor was serving his political goal. So we say bye-bye. Serena Sifos, so I can give you a chance here, is a lawyer who number one duty and duty only is to ensure that whatever President Weah wants to see accomplished is accomplished, irrespective of the facts, the truth, and the constitutionality of that issue. We see him on his game. We see rape cases. He doesn't care. We see that the NEC boss was indicted by LACC. He doesn't care. Why? Because that is a case that makes the government look ugly. So he's not interested in that. He's interested in a case that minimizes a political opponent and makes his political goal, President Weah, look good. So if President Weah is to pick Serena Sifos, it will be of no surprise to nobody. And in fact, seditions will celebrate that, because if there is one person who will do whatever the president asks, that person will be now current Solicitor General Serena Sifos, because he delivered when he was asked in Cabinet General's case. He is delivering. In this case, that is in court against Cummings. So why will President Weah hesitate? I'm not saying he's the one he's going to pick, but if he is to do so, he will not hesitate. And finally, Steve, I'm sure you heard Serena Sifos on that audio tape where a criminal called Ellen Cochran, who stole nearly $7 million in coronavirus funds here in the US. as though the allegations against him when she was at the airport were not enough. The woman came to the United States and was brave enough to steal that huge amount of money. While this woman was in jail, was on the phone with Serena Cephas, she is finding way how she can be released from U.S. prison. And in her little mind, she can use voodoo. And who did she call? Serena Cephas. To confirm. In that audio tape, Serena Cephas and Ellen Corkpor were talking about virgin hairs. In other words, hairs, human hairs of virgin women to be used for ritualistic purposes. What did Serena Cephas do? What did he say? So this is the man we're talking about here who will go even outside of the law to use ritualistic tactics to do whatever that pleases the master. And in that audio tape, Ellen Corkpor was saying that somebody told me Maggie and President Weah are in this ritualistic thing to kill some things that will bring political trouble for them. And so can you confirm that this is happening so that I can get out of this trouble? That guy did not utter any disagreement with any Corkpor. He did not warn her that what you are saying is malicious, is wrong. President Weah is not in any such business. Maggie is not in any such business. And they promised him $4,000 that's supposed to be channeled through him. This is the kind of Solicitor General we're talking about. He will do anything for money, and with money, he will do just about any and everything. He will be the best guy for the job if you are looking at it with a seditious mind. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Anthony. We'll get to our next point, our last point here, and then take one or two calls and then call it a day. But I want to zoom in on something because this is big. This is problematic. These guys are setting the stage. They're setting the stage, and we will blow the alarm. We'll have these conversations in public. They're setting the stage, and I want to see how the Senate will receive these nominees. Yes, I will have to agree with you that this other senator, this other Chief Justice, Nangbe, he's as crooked, as criminal, and as fraudster as his boy, Chief Justice Korkpor. They are the same thing. And the sad part about it, he sucks up to George Weah. Oh, he sucks up to George Weah. All of these guys suck up to George Weah. All of them, they should be independent, but they suck up to George Weah. So yes, they're setting the stage for another noise in the judiciary branch of government. This is not mutually exclusive. You'll watch over the next few months how these things unravel. They're positioning themselves as we speak. And I wouldn't be surprised if Judge Joe Manjala or Serena Cephas, one of them is nominated to become a justice. Because when and if they're confirmed, then they will go there in terms of voting or in terms of ruling, then they will side with President George Weah. That is the plan. So we're talking ahead of time before they even get into it. That is the plan. But I got good news for them before we get to the last part. I got good news for the CDC-led government. When we talk here, the CDC, they go, you're lying. When will the sanction be coming? Mr. Ansoni CA, we are reliably informed that the CDC-led government, we've been talking about sanction. We are reliably informed about a report that is coming up very soon, very, very soon. Very damaging report. But not only that, at a greater and a larger extent, some of the big boys will be seriously nailed very, very soon. So I wish them good luck with that. And they can enjoy it. Because yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm not saying the Labyrinth will be sanctioned. I'm saying the big boys. They should go ask Putin what happened to him. They're about to squeeze them. If they think this is a lie, that is fine. Let's watch it in the next few days. I will not go into details. I'll leave it at that. I'll give you the tips and we'll move. But, Mr. Ansonis, what do you make of Edwin Mervyn Snow, the most recent attack or strategy from the CDC-led government to want to take him from the ECOWAS parliament to replace him or to get him out of there? What's going on? Edwin Mervyn Snow was seen most recently when the book came out. He put Claudia's picture up. They were hanging out. He bought President George Weah, I think, an iPhone 13 Pro or new phone, or in gold or so forth. He's been seen with the president. They've been hanging out and chilling as though they buddies and maintain a relationship. He's openly professed and confessed to his relationship with the president. But on the contrary, I want to bring this on the contrary before you bring your thought. Edwin Mervyn Snow has been seen also to understand the politics to some extent of Liberia, whether that through good means or bad means. And the CDC seem to be picking a fight here through Akara's Gray again. There go Akara's Gray again. What do you say? And what do you think? Is this a strategic move, especially we're nearing 2023? What's really going on?
Steve, Snow. Are we talking about snow here? This country is an interesting one, Liberia. So, Steve, yes, Snow is right. He is a friend to President Weah. They've been friends for a long time. He's right about that. Snow, at some point, was head of the Liberian Football Association, the head of it, when President Weah was still on the pitch playing football. So there their relationship started from. Fast forward, President Weah became a senator, and Snow too became a lawmaker. And luckily for both of them, they were part of Liberia representation to the ECOWAS Parliament. So they were saying going to section at the ECOWAS Parliament and coming back. That cemented their relationship to the best of my knowledge. Snow is a smart politician for his own good and for his own benefit, only and only. That is what he is good at. Since we saw the boy Snow as Charles Taylor's in-law, as far back as 1997 and forward, Snow has always been in government. Snow has always been in government. How come this guy, since 1998, he has been in government? I'm saying that to confirm that the guy knows how to play for his own benefit. Now, the politics that is happening here, that is giving folks like Akara's Gray a pause. Number one, this guy rose with President Weah. He got President Weah on speed dial. Akara Gray does not get that kind of access. Why? So this is Akara's Gray, who is feeling somehow alienated and telling Buffer Chambers that, look, Steve, maybe you forgot. At one point, it was reported that Buffer Chambers went to see President Weah, and it took longer than expected. But that does not happen with Snow. So these guys are looking at the proximity that Snow is having with President Weah and want to make a statement to President Weah that, look, this is our government. This is our government. This is not a unity party government. You can't be counting on your friends and rolling with them and ignoring us, who are the one doing the heavy lifting. So they are trying to send a message politically to Snow. And they got Snow on this one. The ECOWAS Parliament is set up in a way that the House of Representatives has an allotment of 3 seats. So there got to be 3 representatives from Liberia at the ECOWAS Parliament. When Snow got at the ECOWAS Parliament, he was a representative. In other words, he was occupying a slot that belongs to the House of Representatives. He got elected as senator. So he should not be holding a position that belongs to the House of Representatives. So those guys are right for making that move. That no, my man, you can't be on that seat. The Senate has or is entitled to 2 seats.
Yeah, but Anthony, to hold you there, they're right. But it's taken a year and plus since he was brought into the Senate. Remember when he got elected, effectively, immediately, that January of 2021, they should have proceeded with this. They did not follow through. They did not do due diligence to do that. They allowed this man to stay there almost 1 year, 2 months, or 1 year, 3 months after being elected senator. Why out of a sudden, what happened that prompted them finally to want to, retrieve or get their seat back? Something is not adding up.
And that's what I'm saying. They are right for doing so, but it's because of their suspicion. Number one, if you see Snow now, he has access to the big boys in the region. He's rolling with Jonathan Goodrich, former president. Is that Goodrich, by the way? Jonathan, is that it? Okay. He's running with the former president of Nigeria. President Weah does not get that spotlight quite too often. This guy is talking with the president of Ghana. President Weah doesn't get that spotlight quite too often. So Snow is elevating his profile. And it is becoming a threat because Akaros and Buffer Chamber, they are aware of a strategic political influence that ECOWAS has in the sub-region and this time in Liberia. So if Snow is the one who is the ear or the ear of this regional body in Liberia, this is Snow that is getting some diplomatic clout that Akaros Gray is not enjoying. And that can catapult him into something that they don't want. Snow can flip on anybody. Don't mind that changing his profile picture to George Weah picture. He's telling. He feels now that with the noise in the opposition, President Weah can likely win. But if the variables change, when it becomes likely that an opposition can win, Snow, who has technically left the Unity Party, will go back to the Unity Party. Snow might even opt to become either a vice presidential candidate. I heard from somebody that he said of recent, and I'll paraphrase it, that when he sees it necessary, at some time, he too can run for president.
So you think the CDC-led government or some members of the CDC are jittering that Snow, they overlooked him, but he's making these kind of connections and hanging with the big boys and getting the relevance, especially within not only the West African region, Africa at large, and maybe getting some international attention that could, like you said, catapult him or push him up to the next level. What? That's an interesting. But then, just before we open the line, Mr. CA, so does that, in this context, should the CDC be rather in bed with him as to ensure that they keep him rather than fighting him publicly or trying to strip him off that title as to prevent him from continuing this momentum that he has? Do you think it's strategic at this time?
Good question. The political strategy is, if you want a man to fall in line, show him that you have the capacity to minimize him politically. When he feels your heat, he will fall in line. You get the picture?
Right.
So if they go to remove him from the ECOWAS parliament when he should not be there always, they make a political point to him. Say, look, don't overlook us. Don't think because you're rolling with the B-boys, you something. For us, we're nothing. I mean, you're nothing. When they shall have succeeded, when they shall have succeeded at that, Snow will feel threatened politically. Because he has business interests in Liberia, as we know it. They can strategically target those businesses. He's in the Senate. They can decide not to put him on any committee. And Snow would rather want to be on a committee. They made a decision as to who will become this committee chair and that. Abbott Chair can make that decision. As a matter of fact, it was Abbott Chair who was the first who flared this issue, that this man should not be over there. He's no longer a representative. You see that? So, if Snow wants to be relevant in the Senate, then he has to fall in line. And the CDC want to prove a point to him that, look, we can handle you, we can deal with you if we want. So you better fall in line. Because they think you are rolling with the B-boys in the ECOWAS region, and now you're talking about you can even run. But man, you're trying to spot this thing. So they want to make that point to him. So Snow now will see reason to fall in line to either be on a consequential committee and not just be a man senator. That is the game right here, Steve. And they are also telling President Weah, do not forget us. You cannot take Snow over us. Be you one, President Weah. That is the statement they're making.
Well, this is a battle to see, because one thing I'm aware of is Edwin Snow would not allow himself to be publicly humiliated without fighting back, or without making a point or his case. That I'm aware of it. Mr. CA, we'll open the line here very shortly. Very interesting point with Snow. We must also bear in mind that Edwin Melvin Snow has a track record of winning or attaching himself to winners. Again, whether it's through the legitimate means or not, he has that track record. I've heard some Liberians say he's, I know, Maradona, they use all kind of funny titles or slings or whatever it is. You know, but you made some valid points here that must be considered. Is the CDC-led government ready for this? Let's put the number here. We got our first caller here. Let me get this caller. Mr. CA. We'll take about five callers, and then maybe try to call a day. We'll take about 5 callers. Let me put the number up here. We got our first caller. You can call that number. If you call, I don't pick up, please hang on. I will call you back, or so forth. But after our first caller, there will be 1 minute allocated to everyone, please. But let's get the first caller here. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, please?
Hey, Moses. Good afternoon from my end here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, so I would like to chime in on the central theme of your discussion. I think it has to do with the unconfirmed announcement of the resignation of Korkpor. Is he resigning, or is he like retiring?
He more likely retiring, stepping down. This is J. Randy, right?
Yeah, this is J. Randy. Oh, I thought I called my name. Sorry, guys. So this is J. Randy here. And yeah, so I listened to your guests, and I just have a few things to say. Liberia is challenged in every area, and the problem that we see existing today is more of the symptom that we continue to exhibit today, rather than someone being the owner of what is happening here. All right. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, for example. So I'm trying to give you little information so that people can know where I'm coming from and going. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf had the TRC recommendation, which shouldn't have been part of any presidential election. The Supreme Court is supposed to interpret the law when Ellen and order violated the constitutional right of Samuel Kanyang. The late Johnny Lewis, a friend of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, run in the government.
Mm-hmm.
And she became president today. That is another flaw, that 250,000 people died because Ellen wanted power. Nobody said anything. Kamina Jana, just the 2000 early 2000 war that we call World War I, World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Amina Janet was also recommended by TRC not to participate in the government.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the same Supreme Court, the government honored Ellen, the national legislature, including Ellen, confirmed Kamina Janet, that is, Eddie nominated him, and the Liberian Senate confirmed him as well.
Right.
So when we want to challenge a symptom of what happening today, we should look at the consistent behavior. And I think the lack of education among every one of us, who when it comes to making a Liberia-centric decision, meaning nothing should be above Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't focus on the things, but rather want to focus on a specific administration. We're not going nowhere, because who knows? If Kwame become president tomorrow, Boka become president tomorrow, then we play around the justice system. They have been our consistent practice in our country. So I hope that the other callers and your guests will now only focus on what the reality is now, but what are the root cause of why things are happening today. And it's not going to end with George Weah. It's going to further extend into the next administration. I can guarantee you that. So thank you so much, Moses. I'm listening, and I look forward to speaking to you after the show as well.
Yes, and it, ladies and gentlemen, just to announce, Randy should have been on the show as one of our guests, but unfortunately his schedule couldn't permit him to come on today, but definitely he will be on here very soon once we can coordinate with his schedule. It was our fault because we got him the invitation at a very squeezing last minute of time. We sent the invitation out to him. He tried, but he couldn't. So Randy, thanks for all you do, and we're definitely coordinating back to see when we can bring you on based on your availability. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm listening in too. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. So yes, Ansoni Sie, as you heard, Joe Randy, which I agree with him that this is more like a systematic thing that's been rolling over, where people throw blind eyes to the rule of law, and they do the wrong thing. Then it catches up with us in the future. Then now we start to make noise and blame or whatever it is. Same thing with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who should have never been president anyways. Vani Sherman push it, they made a case, and they got the Supreme Court and other people to throw the ruling away, the recommendation from the from the TRC. Ellen came to power. Ellen stepped on the TRC and so forth. So yeah, it's just a big quagmire that we're in, Mr. Sie. It's just ridiculous and I mean ununderstandable. I don't know what you say, but we're in a total mess as a nation.
And Rennie made a very significant point. That is the crumbs of the matter, right? Have we as a nation acted upon the recommendations of the True and Reconciliation Commission, we will not be having Prince Johnson as a lawmaker, something that is an insult to us as a people. Whether or not the Niba people who voted him believe it, that is an insult to us. This man killed people. We all saw him, rewarding him with power is to say, well, to hell with those he killed, their life don't matter. And that is the profound statement that people of Nimba make, and not only one time, that they made 2 times. And the idea that, well, he was for us, he was defending us, is just shameless, that they will, go that length to explain to us. Where was Prince Johnson during the war? He was in Kawa. There where he was killing people, right?
Mhm.
So how come can the people of Nimba say, but again, I don't know anything much about Nimba, so maybe they have their reason, but I just having to feel so strongly that because Prince Johnson was killing people, that was enough for the people of Nimba to say, we're not going to tell you thank you by giving him power because you kill Liberians. And for them to have done that, I disagree with them, but it is their right to have a killer, a murderer representing them. What it means is Nimba people, especially those who voted for Prince Johnson, are saying Prince Johnson is a good man, will not care whether he's a killer, and people who kill are good people, and they are the ones who represent us. Shame on Nimba. I say that.
Okay, well, thank you. Shame on Nima. At that point, we'll leave it here for today because I know tomorrow we'll have another segment with you on Focus on Liberia that is promising to be very hectic. But I will let you give that announcement or dig into that or dive into that. Let us know what you got cooked up for us over there on the other side.
Those of you listening, tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Time, Steve will be my guest on the Hour of Politics on Focus on Liberia.
Is that 12 noon?
1 Eastern.
I think it was it 1?
I want to do 12 Eastern. If you can make it, we can make it 1. That's why I have not put out the flyer yet. But we will settle that. But so folks, it will either be 12 noon Eastern Time or it will be 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will share the flyer on Focus on Liberia page.
Yes.
All the hottest political stories will be on the table. Even if it will mean that we'll ask some questions about the Spoon Network, we will do. We see Liberian asking questions about a report that they promised. They said they were going to be video. We want that video. Don't promise us what you can give. We'll ask. We will ask for it. Steve, I think we have had a very entertaining and informative discussion here today. And if anybody feels that this was more entertaining and they want more, that more will be available on Focus on Liberia tomorrow.
Yes. Focus on Liberia. I have not been on Focus on Liberia in almost a year and a half, going to 2. So tomorrow is my return to Focus on Liberia. And just for you guys to be aware of, for you guys to know, for the record's sake, Focus on Liberia is one of the places I debuted at, or I started off. I want to say thanks to Focus on Liberia, Mr. Ansani, CA, and Dennis, Jai, and the rest of the crew. These are family. This is a sister network. They provided me with the opportunity at some point. I was a daily contributor. We even had a short run on there on mental health for a certain while. And it was a good working relationship, and we always have maintained that working relationship. So I'm not a stranger to Focus on Liberia, but we'll be there tomorrow. And yeah, so you can say we'll make it juicy.
That's the part that people like. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it juicy tomorrow. It will be noisy and juicy. So when you're physical, when you're not your physical, when your political leader or the people that you like fall down inside tomorrow, we'll talk about it. Nice. Yeah, when your hero then fall down inside, we'll talk about it. Your physical talk show, When they fall down inside tomorrow, we'll talk about it. So everything will be on the table. We'll be discussing the politics in Liberia. Your favorite politician, if they fall down inside, we'll talk about it. We don't mind the Liberia business. We'll talk about tomorrow. We'll talk politics. We'll talk facts, and we'll discuss the issue and stay with the issue. Come there tomorrow. I know some of you can be very us like nothing, but you can stick around. That's the most important thing, Mr. C. I love the people who can be insulting us, getting pissed off. But guess what happened? They stay showable. They stay there. They stay watching us. They stay enjoying the time, enjoying the moment. And we ourselves too, we can be there with them because our people now. We can no way to carry them. So thank you so much, Mr. C. What will be your parting comment before we play this song that the people are not being able to interpret? It had to take me and Sonny CA today to interpret this song for you. Go.
And if you're talking about the song, I'll focus on Liberia tomorrow. The song will be interpreted word by word. The next child will help us. So if you want to know the meaning of the song, the meaning of the song, the wordings and everything will be provided and focus on Liberia tomorrow. Patrick Kennedy is saying, my man, you guys forget about Spoon Network and concentrate on your own network, man. I would take that into consideration. But again, we shouldn't be choosing, right? These people, they are part of the conversation. I want people to talk about me. Talk about me, talk about me. I'm in this public space questioning leaders, people who have their own families, just because they won't be president, just because they are holding political offices. I go after them, I critique them, I question their decisions. So myself too need to be questioned. I'm sure that not everything I've said having to be the truth or entirely true. I don't think so. I can't be a fool to say that. And, so we all need to hold everybody accountable, and that includes the Spoon Network. But Patrick, we will look at what you said. Maybe send the people further inside, let them keep falling down inside, and let them do it themselves, right? Hey, Steve, my closing comment, I want to say thank you, and I want to say a very big thank you to your listeners who sometimes they're not happy with you. Sometimes they don't like the line you take, but they still come to listen. Liberia is getting somewhere with our interaction as a people. We should be grateful to this social media platform. Let us use it positively. Let us use it positively. We've seen the insults from other platforms. The best way all of us can stop that immediately is to boycott those platforms who insult other people, because the insult they are raining on these platforms show that we Liberian people are not decent people. So when you are on a platform and watching and sharing and liking, when the presenter, when the host is insulting other Liberians, you are equally endorsing that ugly behavior. You are also sending a message to the outside world that we Liberian people are not decent people. That is the message you are sending. And the only way you can change that is to boycott those platforms. The good thing is there are so many platforms that don't insult. Watch the ones that insult. Maybe the ones that are insulting will seriously and change. Because some of these shows that you watch, if your child sees you watching it, in your absence, they will take their smartphone and go watch it. And if they hear what you are listening to, that child will be disappointed in you as a parent. If only we can help with that, then we will be getting somewhere only with the narrative. And there where the change that we are asking for starts. How we talk about the issue, how we talk about other people, how we show them respect. That's part of our disagreement. How we show, dignity and integrity when we are discussing the issue. So that is my closing statement. Boycott platforms that insult, Because the person is insulting Cummings and you are supporting Bwaka, you are clapping. You are liking it. You are sharing it. Because the person is insulting Bwaka and you are Cummings supporter, you are liking it. You are encouraging it. Shame on you and shame on you. You are part of the problem and not the solution. We come on all these platforms to seek. We should not be insulting people as we seek solution. Insults will never solve any of Liberia's problem. We've heard the worst of all from your favorite insulters in chief. Yet, our people stay counting level. Yet, those boys are still stealing. So to believe and think that insult will change it, you miss it big time. And you are part of the problem with that. And come after me, and I will enjoy that. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Sia. Thanks for always being available to have the national conversation, especially on SKTV. We want to say thanks to our viewers and our listeners. Thursday, we'll be back. Tomorrow, we are on Focus on Liberia. Thursday, we'll be back. Friday, we'll also be back with mental health and wellness, no politics, 6 p.m. Eastern time. On Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time on this Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time on this network. We'll be here to talk about mental health and wellness. We've been getting some good feedback on the show. So come with your questions, your concern. You can let us know from the beginning. We're going to be discussing I think it's the 4th stage of growth and development. We're going to be discussing it. Very interesting. This coming Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We gave you a teaser the other time. We will be talking about in this stage in growth of development. We'll be talking about, some of the things that are affecting you. So some of you, your children at that age, they're in school, and the school counselor is or the school psychologist or the teacher, they're recommending that the children get on medication, and the children can sit down in one place and they can't do this, they can't do that. We'll talk about what's happening to them at that age. Some of you, your children have been discriminated upon. We'll talk to you about what's going on at that age, during that age group, so that you can understand, so that you don't panic. When somebody tells you, your child need to be on medication, then you panic and you want to, but the white people say he might get on medication, and you put him on it. No. We're going to talk about some of these things, and it's critically important that you tune in on Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time to listen, and also how you can help your children navigate these different stages of life. But that being said, tomorrow, don't forget, Focus on Liberia. Follow Focus on Liberia to get the time. We're not taking the time. We're doing it deliberately to keep you in suspense so that you can want to see who they can follow. Because Liberian people will let you follow instruction. We want to see who all can follow, and it will be published on Focus on Liberia. We'll have the discussion tomorrow. We'll talk about facts. We'll talk about the issues and so forth. Ansoni, thank you. That's how we want to call it. Go look for your best friends if you want to. Make friends if you want to. But like Ansoni said, stop supporting these negative things that our people are doing. Stop it. Let's gravitate towards positivity. And yes, Ansoni, I agree with you. When and if we make up our minds to boycott some of these things, some of these people, they will fall in line. But the fact that you are pulling in and you are listening to them, that's enabling the behavior. That speaks volume about you too. No disrespect to anybody, but these are facts. These are facts. You are enabling people. 1 minute we think that we think that you're an intelligent person. Another minute we'll find some of you again who would think we are intelligent people on the same platform where they are misbehaving, insulting you. So where we sort of point you now? It's not about fun. I was talking to somebody, I was telling them, I said, don't promote some of these things. Don't even have, so many people don't even acknowledge them. Yeah, don't give them no relevance. Don't give them, the day they start talking something or insulting people, give them credence. Have a conversation with them. We can talk without being disrespectful, without cussing anybody, without lying or creating stories about anybody and just making up things in the blue sky, And some of you are so gullible to even be there. And you want people to take you seriously. You are promoting these people who are not even serious. And when we say these things, it's not about jealousy. We got to elevate the conversation. We got to show to the world that we are better people. And it will show too by the things we support. Can you imagine? I'm hearing people spending their hard-earned money. Are you serious? Taking your hard-earned money to give it to somebody to insult somebody. Where are we headed? You work, y'all know how it is to work in this country to get money. And you're sitting there, people who we expect to be intelligent, they're feeding their minds with a bunch of foolishness. And they think that joke, y'all come on, man. Come on. Well, you'll go find your friends. Mr. Sonny, Mr. Siami, thank you. We'll talk and we'll schedule for tomorrow so that we can move on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Learn. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me.
Bombe oh, find a friend like me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me.
Hey, see bestie, your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie la bestie. Find a friend like me.
I say, see bestie wanting to wealthy. Find a friend like me. I hear them say they want me go. I say
Some of them say they want me go.
I say
Some friends yelling la oh. Some friends yelling la oh. Some friends yelling la oh. Friends yelling la oh. Hey, see bestie, your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie la bestie. Find a friend like me.
I say, see bestie wanting to wealthy. Find a friend like me. They won't step on my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah. They won't call it my blessing, but God get it breaking, yeah.
Friendship, see friendship. Can't see Papa T friendship. And I want no back for friendship. Wangolo, Wango for bestie, Wango for daddy,
I hear them say they want me go. I say I hear them say they want me go. I say